Well, hello Dietz Art students. It's Mr. Lightbody here, coming to you from the Dietz Art Room YouTube channel. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to color the school bus that I drew in the last video. And looking at this bus, I realized I forgot to add the headlights here with the flashing lights. These are going to be circles I'm going to add. I do appreciate the students who used this marker, as they took good care of it and put the cap back on at the end of the day. All right, so there I've got, there's going to be some rosy red cheeks for my school bus. Take a seat and do some coloring. Well, before I forget again, here we go. Now I'm not going to color the whole thing for you in this video, because I don't think that's necessary, but I'm just going to show you how I could approach getting started. Coloring very lightly. Don't want to make dark streaky colors. When I start a new shape, I like to color around the line. I try not to draw over the line or color over the line, because that's going to fade the black, and I like the black line to show up. I'm coloring in circles. You could go back and forth and change. Oh, I just scribbled a little bit outside of the line by accident because I lost control. There I have little red cheeks on the school bus. While I'm drawing these circles, I decided that I'm just going to color the lights at the top orange. If you want to go with red, you can, or any other color, but orange works well and it gives us something different than the red below. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to my school bus. Yellow. I'm going to color the bus yellow. Of course, school buses do come in different colors. Oh, I thought this was clean enough. You might be able to see the tip of the crayon's a little dirty, so I'm going to... Oh my goodness, I got some black smudges that rubbed off. It happens if you get a yellow crayon out of a bucket. I thought this was safe in the box. A lot of times you need to color a bit with the crayon and get the smudges removed. So now I got a little bit of dirt on my school bus. So I'm coloring around the lines first. I like these jumbo crayons. They're good for filling in space quickly. They don't break quite as easily either. They can break, but they don't break as often. In just a little bit, I'll show you one that did break on me, and it was a sad thing to see happen. I'm going to fill in my color. It's hard to see the little gaps in the yellow, but just work around going back and forth. I like to go in little circles. You can also color directionally if you want to, but we don't want to have streaky lines or scribble scrabble showing up. Probably the most important thing I can do with a yellow is try to draw around the black lines, because I don't want the yellow making it hard to see the black lines. And this requires a little bit of patience. My hand is starting to get tired. If your hand starts to get tired, you can take a little break. I notice I'm not used to holding crayons that are this size. Just it's working different muscles in the hands. And after I color around the circles, I'm going to reward my hand with a little break. There we go. Stretch. Here I go again. So coloring is something that does require a little bit of focus. It's not too hard. I think in terms of the level of difficulty, it's easier than doing the drawing here. But if you're somebody who likes to rush through and do things quickly, it might feel very hard to slow down and focus. If it helps to think about things that are fun while you're coloring so you don't get bored and don't feel the need to rush, that's a good little trick. I don't know, maybe you could think about your game that's coming up, or you could think about a joke that you heard that was funny. Maybe you want to think about your school bus's personality. I don't know, is this a bus going on a field trip today? Where's the bus going? Why is this bus so happy? All right, I'm going to move on, and I'll show you that that broken crayon I told you about. Look at that. This one's not the super jumbo. Look at the size of that one compared to this. And this is already a big crayon, but pretty neat. You know what? I'll go ahead and use the big crayon here. Remember, we're not using the Sharpies on coloring the black objects in the drawing because that'll really dry the Sharpies out and use up the ink. We're using the Sharpies for making our lines. And I'm just drawing or coloring lightly. If you want to color darker later, you can. Maybe go around the edges, darken them up. Now, if this bus has been out on the road for a while, the paint, the black paint may have faded a bit over time, and it wouldn't be the blackest, shiniest black that you could make by pressing down hard. That reminds me, I do need to wax the car this weekend to keep the paint shiny. I'm hoping it'll be cool enough that I won't be suffering too much out there. All right, now I'm going to use the black again for the bumper and the tires. I'm going to color around the edge. Taking my time, and then I'm going to fill it in. I'm just going to go in circles. I like the circles because you don't see those scratchy lines going back and forth. And for me, it's easier to control the pressure when I color with a circle because I can keep it light, and then I can always add pressure and make it darker. But when you're going back and forth, sometimes you make a line that's dark and it shows up around the area that you colored more softly. And I'll kind of darken up some of the areas by going back over it. There, I got my bumper. Now with the tire, I'm going to try to color in between the black lines. I don't want to color over the black lines. And I don't have to get my tires super dark either. The tires fade. Now you can buy products at the auto parts store to make your tires shiny and dark, but they do fade. They get a little bit grayed out over time, especially if they're dusty and dirty, driving on a dirty road. Your tires are not going to be super duper black. I'm going to check the running time on the video here. All right. going to go for a few more minutes and then call it quits. As we got to keep this thing short enough to fit into our class. So what I'm going to do now is I've got a gray for the grill. I'm going to color around the mouth. Oh, see, I did that. I made a line. It kind of looks like a little scar there. Now, if you don't have a gray, one thing you could do is color very lightly. You'll notice that this color very lightly with a black crayon. This gray is not a jumbo gray. It did not come in the basic jumbo color pack. So gray crayons are not as common as black crayons. You can always use a black crayon in a pinch if you don't have a gray. Some people like to use pencils for shading, but I like to keep it as all crayon. Now, another thing I'm going to do, very lightly, I'm going to use a blue. You may or may not want to do this. I want my window to be a little bit tinted, and I could do black or blue. Either of those will be okay. I'm going to go with blue. So I don't like just having the manila color there on the window. I think purple would look funny, but black or blue would work. Probably not that gray. Because the blue kind of makes it look like it's reflecting the blue sky. And I'm going to switch to a white crayon. And if you get a white out of a bucket, you may want to make sure that tip is clean. This one's got some dark spots on there. And the white doesn't look like it's working right away, but when you step back and fill it in, it's really helpful. Now, I would like to make the dot there white, but I've learned from experience if I've got a little detail like that, I'm more likely to color over the black and make the effect less successful than I hope. But having the white eyes white, I think it works better than having the white eyes manila paper colored. And I'm going to go ahead and also use white on the sign. And with the sign, I'm not going to worry about filling everything in with this white. I'll just lighten it up a little bit. I'm not even trying to be giving it full coverage there. I check the time again. All right. So I'm going to need to stop this video in a couple of minutes. Now, I'll just do a quick demo. Down here, we'll have some dust on the road. Make some light brown, maybe some gray down here. And you don't have to color it dark. I would color this road brown. I'd also color my clouds white. But here's a little demo, some advice for doing the sky. Because I think having the colored background sure helps quite a bit. So I'll use that same technique of coloring around lightly in this case, because I don't want to go too dark with this sky. It can be very frustrating to be coloring the sky and you get too dark and then you feel like you got to make everything dark so it's even. So I'm just going to color lightly using the technique of making circles. This is a technique called scumbling. I find it to be quite effective. Now, it is slow. I cannot really speed this up. It's going to take time, and you may not have time to finish all your coloring in class. That's going to be okay. You can take your paper with you. And, well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the video, and you can keep coloring. I hope you're having a good time out there. Thank you.